Hello again, everybody. This is the Bobby Mills Independent Sports Talk Show brought to you by Cornhusker Toyota Honda. Once again, Jimmy Langan to my left, Eric Williams to the right. Stand up, sit, no. Zach may be on the camera. Tina Martinez over there talking to his lovely wife, my daughter, Erin Martinez, watching a little Cubs baseball. We're going to talk about volleyball now, and boy, are we ever enlightened on the sub-district and the district lineup, how they're going to do that. I didn't know. But Jimmy, being the wise man he is, and Tina, we all know what's going to happen here. You want to shed some light on that, Jim? I mean, as far as Class A, that's been the same.
Yeah, well, what they've done is they've serpentined districts in Class A and B. But when Class C1 and C2 this year, what's going to happen is you've got 12 sub-districts, and those schools are close to your proximity in mileage and location. It's just kind of a luck of the draw. You know, where you might be, for instance, you know, if Central City's close to St. Paul, they're probably going to be in the same, but sometimes the line goes and you end up going different directions. But those schools are involved, and there's 12 sub-districts, and those teams will play, and the winner of those 12 sub-districts get to go on to what they call a district final. Those 12. Also, the 4 teams with the highest wild card points that did not win a sub-district will get to be included in that, and there's 16 teams. And it doesn't matter where they're located at. They could be in Shadron, you know, and it could be GICC. And they could be the 8 and 9 seeds that could get in. Or St. Paul could be playing at, you know, at Cozad or something in C1. Sure. And somebody could upset somebody and win that. So it gives everybody a chance in these 12 that somebody could get an upset in you. So you're seeded, you have a chance to win your sub-district. For instance, Minden could upset a Kearney Catholic. Minden would get in, well, Kearney Catholic might get a wild card. They might be one of the remaining 4 that did not win a sub-district. Yeah. And one thing about it this year, like Orr's got a really good team this year. But, you know, they're sitting back about 11th or 12th in the wild card. That's how tough C1 is. But that's how C1 and C2 are doing it this year. And what happens then is they will play, and those 12 teams that got in, plus the 4 qualifiers that were wild cards, they'll look at their point totals, and they'll be 1 through 16. 1 will play 16, 2 plays 15, 3 plays 14. I'm sure that they'll host that, or they'll have a school close to that. They can decide, the ADs can decide where they want to play that game at. And those winning 8 schools will go to the state tournament. And then they will reseed those 8 that happen to make it. And those will be your state tournament field. But those 8 could be totally different, because if 16 would beat 1, one's now out. They can't get back in. 16's going to get in, but they won't be that number 1 seed. You know, they'll still be back there like the 8 seed because of their wild card points.
The one thing I would like to see out of this is those district finals. I'd like to see those wild card teams be put to the back of it. Let's say the number 1 team in C1 loses that sub-district. They're going to get the wild card points. They'll get reseeded and still be the number 1. Am I correct in that situation?
Yeah, you would be if they had the highest had the highest total.
I would like to see those 4 wild card teams be the 12, 13, 14, or the 13, 14, 15, 16 in this district deal. That would be something to put in there. I think just to put the top 12 up there a little bit.
The trouble with that is, guess who 1 has to play now? 16. 2 plays 15. 3 plays 14. 4 plays 13. And boom! So now you'd be better off being a 5 seed going, and guess what? We get to play the worst team who's 12.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the trouble with it. So, I mean, I'd go the other way. I think if you're going to do it this way, I have no problem with it. And I think what they're trying to do, they're trying to stop somebody from, like, there was a couple years ago, the Minden girls were playing Kearney Catholic. And the winner got to go and the loser's out completely. And because they only took 2 wild cards. Yeah. This way, once you win, and the Kearney Catholic did, then, hey, 12 other teams get, and then you can reward yourself if you're way back there. You could be back there a ways and maybe win or maybe not get in, but you look at it and go, hey, good, the top 6 all won their sub-district. Now we're going to take 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 or whatever's left.
And I have no problem with that. I like the fact that you're adding more wild cards, but I still think that whoever the wild card is, and whoever it is, should be the back end of that. I think. I think the winners of the 12 should be seeded 1 through 12, depending on the wild cards, and then right after that, 13 through 16 ranked as by their wild card points. That way, let's say if you do get upset as a higher seed, then you're the one having to go on the road and not getting, rewarded for losing your sub-district.
Well, that's a good point too.
But who are you penalizing? You're penalizing the top 4 teams that won their subdistrict. They didn't do anything wrong, and they have to play a really good team right off the bat that maybe just got upset, And sometimes what happens, let's say for instance, the best 2 teams were St. Paul and Kearney Catholic, and they were in the same sub-district. Well,
Yeah.
You're going, oh my, I don't know who's going to lose, but whoever it is will be 13.
Yeah.
I mean, automatically, the loser's 13 and the winner's 1.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
I mean,
so yeah.
But what would give you more of an impact, I think, in that game, besides being considered the champion, would it
Right.
be, maybe being the 13 seed, or it's
Right.
going to all stand the same way.
I
no
understand your
matter
point,
what.
I just disagree.
Yeah.
But I do understand your point.
But it could end up with a state tournament that doesn't have the best 8 teams though, too.
Oh,
You
well,
know,
that's gonna happen all the
that-
time. Even in basketball, just because you have a state tournament doesn't mean you have the best team.
No.
Yeah, there's upset all the time.
No, the difference between football and volleyball, I'm assuming in this C1 and C2 deal, is that they don't go west-east when they do this.
That's correct.
So
Yeah, once they
anybody-
get those 16 in, they're in. Yeah.
And Chadwick could play Omaha Scud or whatever.
Yeah, that's
and
right,
Of
yeah.
course, they can't, they're different classes. But
Right, but that's a good, what you got.
do you like that type of thing? I think if you're gonna do it that way, probably the fairest way to do it.
What I like is I think the administrators listen to the coaches. This sounds like a coach's proposal. The coaches wanted, they went in and asked and presented it very well, and presented it at a time when the
Yeah.
ADs wanted to listen to what they had to say.
Well, that's the time to do
there's,
it.
There's, yeah, and don't get me wrong, there's times if you present it very poorly, people vote no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of how it's presented, and both sides needs to have, say, hey, this is why I disagree with it. Here's why. And just like we were talking about the 13, 14, 15, 16, we both made valid points.
Yep.
Somebody's got to make a decision after we talked about, okay, well, how do you want to do it now? And then coaches would say, hey, here's how we'd like it done. And then you're going, really, I'm not a coach. I'll just vote the way my coach told me to vote. You know what I mean? I think they made a good proposal. And sometimes it's how the proposal's written. And I do like the change. I think sometimes we get caught up, this is the way we used to do it,
Well,
I don't want to do
yeah.
it. Hey, do what the coaches want. If 8-man wants 32 teams, and they vote for 32 teams in football, and they want to play an 8-game schedule, then let's have them have it. You know what I mean? Let's let it do it. And they want to go west to east, fine.
That's fine, and that's the way they did it, and I applaud them for that, because not everybody has to go the 9-game schedule and do that in football. But let's talk about some local teams here too, because, St. Paul is what they beat Kearney Catholic, and they're vaulted at #1, and then they turn right around and lose to Kearney Catholic. What does this mean? Nothing to me, but, they're gonna meet again, aren't they?
Good, they could.
I think teams that this new format helps out are the Central Catholic, Kearney Catholic, and St.
Well,
Paul's,
yeah,
because now they're not facing each other, and all 3 of them are going to get in. So I mean, it's like it benefits these types of teams and those districts, and that way you're not just beating each other up in the district play as well. So that's where I go with how this lays out anyway. But I don't think it really means a whole lot. I mean, it's a rubber match going into this maybe into a playoff appearance, and it's going to be a heck of a volleyball match, I think, out of those 2 teams.
St. Paul has a tremendous coach, and he does a great job. He was at Elba, he went to St. Paul. He's won no matter where he's at. He knows what to do in practice. He pushes the correct buttons. He made a comment last on the radio I thought was interesting. He said, hey, we're playing Kearney Catholic. That's good for us. We need to play a game on the road against a good foe like Kearney Catholic. You know what I think is interesting? The Loup Platte Conference voted Kearney Catholic out of their conference. I mean, if the game's such a good game, why did we vote them out?
Well, I know.
And Central City's coming into the Loup Platte Conference. I don't know if you knew that. They voted them in. Loup Platte's coming. Central City voted. They're going into the Loup Platte Conference now. They're going to be a Loup Platte Conference member. Adams Central is in the Central 10 now. And so, I guess, what's interesting is everybody has a different opinion about whether Kearney Catholic should have been in or should have been out of the Loup Platte Conference.
I know.
They got voted out by a unanimous source.
Yeah, it wasn't
but,
any.
but I don't know if the coaches wanted that. I'm sure sometimes some did, and it depends on who you talk to and when you talk to them. But I do know that the St. Paul Kearney Catholic volleyball match was tremendous this year for both teams, and it was exciting
my
for people to
goodness.
watch. I know it was a great competition.
And it made for a great Lou Platte tournament
Yes, it
final
did.
too.
Maybe they'll keep playing each other anymore.
Well, that could be.
I
That-
hope so.
That could, and who would have thought that Central City would be in the Lou Platte 10 years ago? Or who thought Superior would be 8-man football either? But
Well, Ord's been in the Central 10 with Central City, and
Yeah.
now they're both jumping over the Lou Platte.
Yeah.
Adams Central used to be in the Central 10, now they're going back.
Yeah.
Albion used to be in the Central 10, so the enrollments changes and stuff, and I don't know all the specifics. I wasn't in the meetings, I don't know what the school board said to do, and et cetera. But I do know there's still some controversial right now, and it's until Kearney Catholic's officially out, because they're still playing in it. There'll be the interesting stories about and what people say and how they really feel about it. Because sometimes 2 years from now, you might think, maybe we made a mistake or maybe we didn't. Yeah.
And Lexington was in the same deal with the Southwest Conference years back. So what about Northwest? We've got Northwest. Can they win Class B with Scud in there?
They're always a team that'll get there. I mean,
Northwest, yeah.
Yeah, they're always a team that will work their way through and then get to a tough team. It used to be, it was Pius all those
Oh,
years.
good,
How many
yes.
times did they end up third or second to Pius?
I know.
I think they have a chance to get there, and once you get there, all bets are off, I think, and they've taken a couple of very good teams to 5 sets in that state final game, and a couple of them I thought they could have easily won and upset maybe a Pius or whoever it was that they were playing. So I do think they can get there, and I'm looking forward to the run that they can have, because Coach Rose, always a good coach, always gets her team going, and they've got a great fan base that follows them down there. They've got a great group of parents, faculty, students, and everything like that. They make a great crowd down there in Lincoln for those finals. So looking forward to seeing that run. Looking forward to seeing how all three, Kearney Catholic, St. Paul, Central Catholic, how can they do, and where do they get seated in that state playoff? So it'll be fun to watch.
Then we got 2 Class A schools. Kearney High's improving.
Yeah.
Grand Island Senior High. How they maybe can get down there and slip into Class
I've got
A.
a sneaky team, that Grand Island team.
Yes.
There wasn't a whole lot that I really expected out of them this year, but they've done a great job. They're in 9th right now in Class A. So that's quite a sneaky group right there, and Coach Root's done a great job with them.
And anytime, what you said is if you have a fan base that will travel in volleyball, you've got a loyal bunch. I remember when the state volleyball tournament was here.
Yeah.
And Grand Island played Lincoln Northeast. And Lincoln Northeast bought 3 or 4 buses, and senior high kids had the day off, and nobody showed up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that makes
you go
a
down
big-
to Lincoln, and it was the exact
Oh,
opposite.
yeah, they would have showed up down there, but
We
not
already
here.
showed up
I was
down
like,
there,
oh,
yeah.
wow, we're playing
Right.
at home. But, boy, that tickles me, because Northwest people will go anywhere, and probably Grand Island will
But
down there too.
I remember a lot of tough Pius Northwest games, because
Oh.
my cousin played at Northwest, so I went to a lot of them, and they play that at the Pershing because the Huskers were at home football wise, so
Yeah.
the Coliseum was used for parking, so they played down at Pershing, and the student body for Pius would go all the way up to the rafters, and I mean, it was just crazy how fun that atmosphere was. So.
And he used to gripe me
Yeah.
years ago, because this is nothing but a home game for Pius or
Yeah.
Southeast.
Yeah.
Well, geez, I don't know about that, Jimmy. They could have done it. What's the chances of senior high getting the wild card if they don't win there? I don't even know how high. Do you know anybody know where senior highs knows? I don't.
Well, they're going to be in Class A. You're going to have, you have that serpentine.
Well, there's
same
serpentine,
thing,
yeah.
they go
Yeah.
through that, and then once you those teams are going to get in, so those 8 will get in. I mean, the
Yeah.
8
They'll be a
winners.
2
Yeah,
seed.
yeah, right. So it'll be very interesting to see, but. There'll be some upsets. I'll guarantee you that. It won't be the best 8 teams, because that doesn't happen very often in volleyball. Somebody's going to pick somebody up.
does it?
No.
I wondered about Central Catholic. Well, of course, Northwest, by the way, has Orden Pius left, and that could be, who knows? I don't know where that Pius is, but in Central Catholic, I don't know. Does it matter who they have left? Because like you say, it's a district that matters anyway. I don't know how many more wild card points you can get unless you play top teams. Heartland Lutheran isn't going to give you too much.
No.
We haven't even talked about them. They have a shot at going to state. Or they have a good volleyball team. I don't even know.
Only got 3 wins.
Okay, all right. Well, that answers that. They're not.
They haven't been successful.
They haven't
this
been
year,
very
but they
successful,
still-
but
they're
they
like
had-
everybody else. They got a shot.
They get a shot.
They get a shot,
Yeah.
and they keep playing. You knock somebody off and see what happens. Yep.
So volleyball, will start, is it a week from?
October
Monday,
31st,
October,
I
yep,
think.
Halloween night, the volleyball, everything gets going.
I think
So-
Jim should dress up as a volleyball official and maybe sneak in there.
You know what I think you should do, Jimmy? Yeah, that's a great idea. You should be a lobbyist at some of these meetings, you talk about things being presented. I think you can make millions of dollars doing that.
I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna sneak in. I'm gonna pay $6-7, but I might go to a volleyball game on October 31st. There might be something in the
Well,
area
there could be.
I wanna go see, or I might even help Doug Duda out if he calls one.
You need to be a volleyball official so you can just stand on that podium up there and have everybody looking at you. Doesn't that sound good? Now tell us,
I don't think anybody's
So
gonna be.
tell us once
They're not
again-
gonna be looking very long.
tell us once again where you're officiating, because
I'll go
you've got
to-
two great games
Yeah,
for football.
Thursday I go to Arapahoe. Eustis Farnham at Arapahoe. They're sitting about 23-24
Yeah.
out of the 32 teams. I think they're both going to get in, win or lose. And then I've got Ord in Lakeview, and I'm not for sure how that. I didn't look at that hard, but I know the winner's in. I don't know if the loser can get in or not. Yeah.
Well, I think
But
Lakeview
they're
has
just
a
16. I don't think so. Yeah, but
Yeah,
you
I
might
think-
know.
I think Lakeview's got a shot, but that's gonna be unbelievable,
Yeah.
so, and they got the right crew, and this Tim Higgins and his professional crew are gonna be up at Central City in St. Paul, but, they know who the good guys are. Anyway, you don't still have that card, do you, Jim? Anyway,
That card?
that card, that Tim Higgins, wonderful crew, but the names on that card that Tim gave me, Ed Hockley was on that, I didn't know he made.
Yeah,
trips out there.
that's not his crew.
I didn't know he
Yeah,
made it.
Yeah, he made that up. That's
And
not
Red
his crew.
Grange,
Yeah, Red Grange, he used to play for Illinois, and he hasn't officiated for a long time. But Tim will always come up with some. In fact, some of the guys will introduce themselves to the kids with a fake name, and the kids have never heard of the guy. Yogi Berra.
But you know what, I've been around for 100 years and I fell for the Ed Hockley deal, so, anyway. Get out and see a volleyball game or a football game, it's that magic time of season, football, I call it the holy season. So, we'll get out and see a football or a volleyball game, support high school sports like we all do. And we'll support those Chicago Cubs if you're a Cubs fan. So anyway, for Bobby Mills, myself, Zach Navy behind the camera, Tina Martinez over there biting his fingernails, Eric Williams, and the one and only Jim Langen for theindependent.com. We'll be back next time, talk some football and high school volleyball. Later.